Sometimes the silliest things happen to you and they become memorable experiences, and you laugh because it didn't turn out so bad after all. Things that you do that were silly or stupid or misjudgment. And they really shouldn't have caught me this time, but they did. But I was tired one day, sitting around the house. I don't know, it might have been a Sunday. And I had been to Rosa Morada many times. It was a smallish town, but it was our county seat. We lived in Rosa Morada County, not Tuxpan County. I talk a lot about that, but we did not live there. We lived in on the west edge of Rosa Morada County, and we wouldn't have gone there so much, except that being the county seat, El Municipio, we were there for business things, and I can't remember exactly what. I remember Hector had a job there. One of the county commissioners had come to our house one night and asked Hector if he'd like a job teaching teachers. Teaching dance teachers in that area. That was his specialty. He had done that since childhood, and along with his college degree, he had done a separate piece of work at another school for folkloric ballet, which is just the regional dances of historic Mexico. And so it was quite an honor that he would be asked to do that. It wasn't even an interview, but we had to go in and out of the courthouse often, and kind of funny, I already had a bit of a reputation being the only gringo for 1,000 miles. And but in this case, I was known as El Gringo Dormiente. I for some reason, every time we ended up at the courthouse, his meetings took too long, and they were chatty people, and I didn't want to follow along into the offices. I didn't want to be a distraction, so I just stayed out in the lobby. It was the second story, kind of a curved, elegant stairway that came up to the second floor, and there were a variety of chairs. And this was before we had cell phones, and I didn't have my iPad with me. I don't think we even had iPads then, but I had nothing to do except just sit there and wait, and I fell asleep every single time. And so I had this reputation for falling to sleep in awkward positions in these chairs. Well, anyway, that was part of the fun. And I went with Hector many times when he went to his dance classes. I didn't participate. I didn't want to be a distraction there either, so I just walked around town. I just parked the pickup and walked, took pictures. But on this day, it was different. I went over on my own. I went over quietly to get away from people, and I don't know, I guess I didn't want to go shopping there. There wasn't a lot of shopping in Rosa Morada anyway, but I kind of explored a different part of town. And as I came around the corner into the town square, I admired the kiosk. The kiosk is like the middle, like a bandstand, you might say. It's usually a hexagon or an octagon shaped thing, and sometimes it's 2 levels and has arches and a tiled roof, and it's a picturesque part of every village, and even the large cities have beautiful kiosks. Guadalajara, for example, has a magnificent kiosk made of wrought iron that was a gift from Paris. Well, anyway, most are not so grand, but so I hung out there for a while and just admired the scenery and the greenery and the peacefulness, the birds. A magical kind of moment that you have sometimes when you're alone. And as I finished with my time there, I came down, and for some reason I hadn't noticed before that there were hundreds of cars around the city square, more than usual. In fact, there was something going on at the church. And so I walked that direction. It's just the other side of the square, obviously. because that's how churches tend to be prominent on the town square. And so, so I thought, well, what's going on? All these cars, and just at that moment, the front doors opened, and out came a few people, followed by 6 men carrying a casket. So that's what I had failed to notice. And then, well, you know, in here and in wealthier parts of Mexico, there's going to be a hearse. Well, there wasn't there. But there was a carroza. Now, a carroza is usually a modern, sometimes expensive car, maybe a Cadillac or a Buick that's been a coupe, a two-door, because they can customize this thing until it becomes like a pickup. Think of the El Caminos and the Ford Rancheros of the past. The carroza was designed to be an elegant presence of every, or most, funerals, and it was filled with flowers. That's its purpose, is the carroza. And there it was, full of flowers. When they came down with the casket, they slid the casket into the back of a pickup, a green Chevy pickup, I remember. Slid it into the pickup, and then the 4 casket bearers climbed up onto the sides of the pickup and rode there, just like we did as farm boys when we were kids. And I decided to get a little closer and see what was happening, what it looked like. A rare experience. And then what happened was interesting. I can't remember if the carroza went first or the pickup, but there were a congregation filled the street, hundreds of people, maybe not hundreds, but a bunch. And one or the other of the cars led the parade, and I believe there might have been musicians. A drummer, I don't remember that clearly, but it seems like there was something like that. It's been a long time. This was summer of 2003. And so I decided, what the heck, I'm going to join this group. I can catch a bit of Mexican culture by just following along, and I mingled in with the last part of the group. I had put my camera away. I was a little shy about that at this time. I never got any pictures of any of it. And I had been to Rosa Morada many times and had 100 pictures, so I didn't need more, but I thought this was a rare thing. But I can't use my camera. I'll just walk along. I'll mix in with the crowd. That wasn't always successful, but they didn't bother me that day. And we walked slowly down the street, to the edge of town, and I actually to the street where you drive into the city was where we were going. I didn't know where they were going, and I didn't know where the cemetery was, but I figured that's, of course, where they're going. However, they were filling this street badly, and I, after 3 or 4 blocks, decided, I'm not so sure I need to be a part of this party. This could go on for hours. I imagined it being kind of like an all-day event. I don't know. That and the fact that I just didn't belong there, I thought, well, why don't I just... We're going to pick up where we left off, which was earlier this afternoon. I am now in my red Saturday pants. What happened was, this morning I finished my story and I got up to see that the camera had quit 10 minutes earlier. So I think it got tired of my story. It got bored. It was worn out. It fell asleep probably. But I got to tell you, that's the way it is with me. I'm going to tell you a story, but there's always another story blended in with it. And that's kind of because in Mexico, every day was an adventure. Every event was another event. There were 2 events. There were 5 events a day in Mexico, each one distinct from the other. My life here in Omaha is, get up, check my email, go out and water the grass, go to the hardware store, go to the grocery store, go to the thrift store, have lunch with a friend, come home and mow the grass, wash the car, have a little time with the dog because he's been alone all day, and then I started all over the same the next day. But in Mexico, come here, Rusty. In Mexico, every day was an adventure. Some of it got routine, but mostly not. So anyway, we're going to go ahead with this story now. If you remember, I was in the funeral procession with, I called it a parade. Oh, and by the way, I said, I pointed to my microphone here. That's not a microphone, that's my remote control for my TV, just over there. But my little microphone is wrapped around it so that it doesn't flop around. So that's why I pointed to my remote control. Isn't that silly, Rusty? Rusty and I have had our supper. That was pretty good. He's a good doggy. Come over here where you can see. This is Rusty. I was in the funeral procession for a few blocks, and I decided this was going to take all day. And I had already been gone from home a while, and I decided just merge out of the procession and go back to the pickup. And that's when I realized that they were going down the street, kind of a little slope, and probably headed off to the south, which is exactly where I needed to go. So I thought, I'll be smart about this, and I'll just go down a block and turn and go that way and cut them off before they get to the highway. So I turn and head left, and I've left the downtown-ish area, and it's just kind of residential, low homes and cobblestone. So I always enjoy just driving slow on that anyway. And so I was careful to look both ways on every intersection, and that's when I noticed a one-way street sign. The one-way street was pointed that direction. It was saying, go back. Well, so with that in mind, I was even more cautious, thinking, well, I better watch out for traffic coming. They won't know I'm here. And then I turned to one side, and there was a county policeman, a county patrol car, coming my direction. And I thought, well, that's just weird. Why would he have to come in my direction? Obviously, I'm okay. He should be down. He should be down with the funeral crowd, monitoring their progress. Instead, he was going the wrong way too. In my opinion, what the hell? So anyway, he put his lights on and pulled up behind me, and I knew better than I just stopped right away. Prepared myself for a scolding and possibly a big ticket or jail. And so, he wanted to know. I don't remember how it went, but the procedure is that they generally ask for your driver's license, and I said, yeah, it's an American driver's license. I'm here visiting family, and that wasn't entirely true, but and of course he just explained, you're on a one-way street, didn't you notice the one-way arrows? And I said, well, yeah, later. But he thought it was funny. I told him, I'm trying to get ahead of the funeral procession. I was watching from the front of this church, and I got involved, and I just was quite enjoying it, kind of laying it on a little thick. But I said, I'm trying to get home now, and I realized that they were going to be taking it, what I just told you. And so he just laughed it off a little bit, and said, well, thanks for visiting, and have a nice day. It couldn't have been better, really, considering. So I took off, and I thought, what, I'm going to go up here another 2-3 blocks and turn right and go back down to the access road, or the road into town. And so I did that, taking my time to not hurry. Wouldn't you know it, just as I get to the main drag, the funeral comes by. And I thought, oh man, what the heck? I have been foiled. But, you know, you gotta laugh. This is the kind of stuff that happens to you when you're just out having fun, and you know, that kind of thing could happen anywhere. And I was just grateful that they were kind and considerate. I've had other police experiences that were a little scarier, but never much happened. I'll tell you about those some of the time. Thanks for listening. Good night, Rodney. Good night.